Good morning, students. Today we will discuss about polymer chemistry. So polymer is nothing but large molecule. Polymer is nothing but large molecule which are linked together the repeating units of small molecules. So these large molecules are linked together the repeating units of small molecules. This is the definition for polymer. Repeating units of small molecules. So small molecules, small units or small molecules. So nothing but it's a large molecules which are made or linked together by the repeating units of the small molecules. So the process of linking these small units is called polymerization. For example, the small unit, for let's say it's a M, it's nothing but your monomer. The process of linking this monomer is called, that gives polymer. The process it's called polymerization. So you will have the repeating unit. So it's a repeating unit. It's nothing but your polymer. This entire process is called polymerization. So this is the basic definition for polymers. And what is monomer? Monomer is nothing but single unit or small molecules which are linked by smaller molecules. The process for linking these small molecules or small units, the repeating units, is called polymerizations. So the polymers can be classified broadly into two classes. The first one is the polymers we can classify into two types or two classes. The first one is nothing but so you have a synthetic polymer, which today we will be discussing entire thing about synthetic polymers. And another class is you have a natural polymer. For synthetic polymer, this is nothing but this is synthesized by scientists. This is synthesized by the polymer synthesized by scientists. So this is naturally available. These polymers are made naturally. This is naturally. So these are naturally occurring. This naturally occurs. Example for synthetic polymers, you have a nylon, polyester and polyacrylonitrile. These are the example for synthetic polymers which are made by or synthesized by scientists. Natural polymers is nothing but it's a biopolymer. It can be called as a biopolymer. Example for this, it's a DNA, RNA, proteins and polysaccharides. These are the example for natural polymer, that is nothing but your biopolymer, whereas synthetic polymer is nothing but it's synthesized by scientists. This example for synthetic polymer is nothing but your nylon, polyester, polyacrylonitrile, then extra. So in natural polymer, that is nothing but biopolymer. Example for this, DNA, RNA, proteins and polysaccharides. So in this we are entirely going to discuss about only the synthetic polymers. So again, the synthetic polymer can be classified into two types. The synthetic polymer, so the synthetic polymer can be classified into two types based on their method of preparations. This is based on the classification based on the preparation method. The preparation method. So this can be synthesized either by chain growth polymerization. Chain growth polymerization. Chain growth polymers. Chain growth polymers. Another type is step growth polymer. Step growth polymer. There are two types in synthetic polymers based on their method of preparation. First one is chain growth polymer. Second one is step growth polymers. The chain growth polymer is nothing but this can be called as a addition polymer. Similarly, step growth polymer is called condensation polymer. Condensation polymer. So this process occurs in addition polymers. This is nothing but your chain polymers. In the process, you can have either the reactive intermediate could be either a radical, anion, or cation. During the reaction mechanism, you will come across radical intermediate or anion intermediate or cation intermediate. Whereas in this process, the reactive molecule which are involved in the step growth polymers, where you will have a two reacting group, that I will discuss it later. You have a two reacting group or reacting functional group. For example, you have a, suppose let's take this ester. It's a monomer. So here have a carbonyl OCH3, am I right? So as I said, this is a two reactive functionality. So in a single monomer, so you have a two reactive functionality, that is ester. Similarly, you have a ester functionality. Next monomer means you have to condense, am I right? You have to make it two monomers. If you condense that, a small molecules get eliminates in all the cases. So for example, CH2, OH, this is nothing but your ethylene glycol. Again in this monomer also you have a two reactive functional group, that is OH and OH. If you mix these two, the small molecule that eliminates, sometimes it could be methanol or it could be water or it could be HCl. In this case, methanol gets eliminated. This is nothing but your condensation process. If you mix two monomers or two molecules, the small molecule will get eliminated. So this entire process will go. So the resultant product is, so you will have a CO, because this will attack this carbonyl. OCH3 is the leaving group. So you will end up with this unit, the repeating unit, this is n times, plus you will have the small molecule that is eliminating during the condensation process. So this is your nothing but, this is your Dacron, am I right? This is nothing but, it's a Dacron, is made by step growth polymer, is nothing but condensation polymer. So in condensation polymer, the reacting molecules have two functionality. So this is the monomer which has two functional group, here ester. Similarly, another monomer you have a reactive functionality, that is OH. If you mix these two, is nothing but this OH will eliminate this OCH3, it form ester. This is one unit, Repeating this process, you will get n number of unit. This is nothing but the polymer. This polymer is called dacron. So this is called dacron, plus the small unit which gets eliminates during the condensation process is methanol. Similarly, first we will discuss about the chain growth polymers, that is nothing but your addition polymers. So this chain growth polymers can be there are the three mechanisms are involved in the chain growth polymer. First we will discuss about chain growth polymer, then we will come to step growth polymer. As I said, chain growth polymer is nothing but it's an addition polymers. So it follows three mechanisms. One is, so in all the cases in chain growth polymer, the monomer always, the monomer that is single unit, this is nothing but either ethylene or substituted ethylene. So you have a ethylene or substituted ethylene. So this can be represented as CH2, either this single monomer or it could be substituted. Instead of one hydrogen you will have Z. Z could be, it could be any alkyl or allyl group. So in chain growth polymer, the monomer will have always ethylene unit or substituted ethylene group. So this can be represented as CH2 double bond CH2, CH2 double bond CSZ. This Z can be any substitution. So it could be aryl, alkyl, ester, nitrile. So these are the basic units that involves in the chain growth polymers. Since you have the polymers made from the substituted ethylene, this can be called as a vinyl polymer. So in this group you will encounter this functional unit, am I right? We are repeating functional unit. This is nothing but your vinyl polymers. This is nothing but because these groups involved in this, so it's called vinyl polymer because the polymer which are made from either ethylene or substituted ethylene. This can be called as a vinyl polymer. So the chain growth polymer proceeds by one of the three mechanisms. So one of the three mechanisms, the first one is called radical polymerization. Radical polymerization. The second mechanism is you have a cationic polymerization. The third one is you have a anionic polymerization. So you have it proceeds one of the three mechanism. It could be either radical polymerization or cationic polymerization or anionic polymerization. So in each mechanism you have three steps. In each mechanism either it could be radical, cationic or anionic. So each mechanism you have three different steps. The first steps, it could be a radical, anionic, cationic. The first step would be an initiation step. Initiation step is nothing but it starts the polymerization. The second step is involved in this propagation step. So propagation step, this is nothing but that step allows to grow the polymer. Allows the chain to grow. And another step is you have a termination. This is nothing but it will stop the growth of chain, stops the growth of chain. So these are the three steps that follows. Either it could be radical, cation or anion. It stops the growth of the chain. So this is, again I will repeat it. So this monomer always, either it could be ethylene or substituted ethylene. Since this vinyl part is there, that's why it's called the monomer which comes from ethylene or substituted ethylene. This is nothing but vinyl polymer. So it has three steps. Or either it can be followed radical intermediate, or it could be followed cationic, or it could be made by anionic polymerization. In each of this, either it could be radical, cationic, anionic, it has three steps. The first step is always your initiation step. The second step is nothing but, the propagation step is nothing but, that step will allow the chain to grow, whereas this termination step, that will stop the growth of your polymer. So first we will discuss about what is radical polymerization, what is cationic polymerization, what is anionic polymerization by using these three steps. In radical polymerization, so obviously the name indicates it follows an the reaction involves a radical intermediate, am I right? Because the name itself indicates the pathways are radical, am I right? So in order to initiate this process, we have to initiate for radical polymerization first step. What you have to do, we have to add the radical initiator. The radical initiator. So radical initiator, nothing but, we can easily identify the initiator is nothing but, you have either oxygen-oxygen bond, for example hydrogen peroxide, it is a radical initiator, or you can have tertiary butyl hydrogen peroxide. Here also we can find this carbon oxygen-oxygen bond. So these are radical initiator. Without this initiator, the polymerization cannot proceed. So this is 1, this is 2, and you can have CS3, CS3 and CS3, CO and CS3. This is di-tertiary butyl peroxide. This also another radical initiator. Next, so this is, so benzoyl, it's a benzoyl peroxide. Benzoyl, so benzoyl, so peroxide. So benzoyl peroxide. Another one is, so you have a, so you, in all the cases you have a oxygen-oxygen or peroxy linkage. So this could act as a initiator for the radical polymerization. You can come across oxygen-oxygen bond in all the initiator. So let's see now how it proceeds. So the radical initiator cleaves heterolytically. For example, suppose you so this is general notation for the radical initiator. So you have this oxygen-oxygen bond. If you heat this peroxide, this radical initiator, it cleaves homolytically. You know what is meant by homolytically? So this is your oxygen-oxygen bond. Alright. Since this bond is weak bond, so this one electron will come over here the another electron will come over here. So you will get 2 RO, all right, 1 unpaired electron. This is nothing but your radical. So this step to generate the radical, this is like homolytically cleaved. It gives a radical. Homolytically means the bond, you have a single electron will be transferred to the attached atom. Similarly, you have another electron which goes to the another covalently bonded atoms. That gives this radical. This step is called your initiation step. Initiation step. This is the first step in radical polymerization. So always you have to look for this initiator. You have to cleave. If you heat it, it cleaves homolytically. It gives the radical. This is the first step in radical polymerization. So it gives this RO dot. Second step is nothing but this radical initiator. Am I right? So this is the monomer that is substituted ethylene. So what here you have a 2 electron. One electron goes here. This electron comes here. So you have another electron moves to this carbon. This is also sp2. This is also sp2. So the electron goes to this sp2 carbon. So this it will become ROCH2 because this is one electron plus this electrons that gives in a bond, single bond. So this one dot over on carbon. So this is the first step. So next step is your chain propagation step. Chain propagation is nothing but where the chain will grow. So first whatever the species you generated, that is ROCH2 CH dot Z. Again you react with another monomer, that is nothing but CH2 CH Z. So now again one radical from this carbon, and this double bond, it has 2 electrons. One electron will comes to this and one electron goes to this carbon. So the resulting species is ROCH2 CH Z. Again you have the bond between this carbon and this carbon because one electrons from this one electron it gives a covalent bond. So this gives CH2 singly bonded. Again dot over here and Z. So suppose if you treat with another unit, you will end up with ROCH2 CHZ CH2 CHZ CH2 CHZ radical. So this is the way it grows in chain propagation step. It grows like this. So this first you have to make this radical from the initiation step. In chain propagation step is nothing but the growth of the chain. So it follows these mechanisms. So you could see always the radical in all the polymer unit. So next step is, so we have to stop the growth of the chain. That is nothing but your chain termination step that we will discuss. Chain terminations. So this process, so if you see in this, the chain termination step, that is nothing but chain termination is nothing but you have a 2RO, that is CH2 CH Z so n times. So you have a CH2 CH dot Z. So there's three ways the chain can terminate. The first one is it can combine just, if you take 2 units of this one, it gives ROCH2 this unit, because we are taking 2 units, so it will combine. So CH2 CHZ n times. So again CH2 CHZ CHZ CH2. So this chain will grow like this. This is one way to terminate the chain. Second way is disproportionation. Disproportionation is nothing but you have the 2 units of this one, that is nothing but the CH2 CHZ, that is n times. You have a CH2 CH dot Z. So it could form either double bond or alkene. For example, RO CH2 CH Z. This is CH. So double bond. So one species can convert it into alkene, plus you have the another unit CH2 CH Z. This is n times CH2 and CH2 Z. So in disproportionation reaction, so the one unit will convert it into alkene part, the another part will become simply the alkane. So this is nothing but your disproportionation. This is nothing but one of the ways to terminate the growth of the polymer. First way, it could just combine these 2 radical, it gives this polymer. And the second way is nothing but your disproportionation. This is the most important part. So it stops the growth of the chain. So it could end up with either alkene or alkene. So you have double bond, here you have a saturated bonds. And so these are the another way is nothing but you have suppose if you treat with impurity, for example reaction with impurity, this is another way to reaction with impurity. So this is impurity is nothing but this the unwanted reaction product. So it reacts with the chain growth polymer. So it ends CH2 dot Z. So that the impurity, it could be, so upon reacting with this impurity, you will end up with RO CH2 CH Z n times CH2 CH Z. This is impurity. Your impurity will be added at the end of this radical. So this is another way to stop the growth of the chain. So first way is just a combination of 2 radicals. Second way is disproportionation. And third way is reacting with impurity. This impurity will stop the growth of the chain. So these are the termination types. So first we have discussed about initiation step. For radical polymerization, you need always an initiator. The initiator, the most of the initiator will have a oxygen-oxygen bond. Second step is you have a chain propagation step where the chain will grow in that process. The last step is chain termination step. The 3 ways you can terminate the growth of the chain. Either it could be you can combine these 2 radical that gives this gives this product. Either it could be combined in a, it could be stopped by either disproportionation reactions where one particle will convert it into double bond, another will become a saturated alkene. The third process is reaction with impurity. This impurity stops the growth of this chain. So next we will discuss about the anionic polymerization. So, so the one more thing I want to discuss it. Suppose you have a CH2 double bond, CH and CH. So this is your tail part. This is your head part. So the molecule polymerize in head to tail. Head to tail, that is the favorable process. Why? Because of less stericness. Less steric. So this monomer will grow head to tail. That means you have a CH2, this is a tail, you have a head, this is your substituent. Again the another molecule, because this is head, again it will combine with tail, am I right? So again this is CH2, this is your tail, again CHZ, again this is tail and this is your head, again it goes CH2, again this is tail. So the head to tail process is favorable because of less steric hindrance, because you see the substituents is alternatively, am I right? It's not the next one, it's an alternative, am I right? CH substituent, CH2, CH substituent, CH2, CH your substituent, again it goes like this. This is nothing but your head to tail combinations. You can have either head to head combination or tail to tail combination. So the monomer can grow either in head to head combination, tail to tail combination or head to tail combination. Among these three, the head to tail combination is favorable because of less steric hindrance. You can see looking at the molecules where the substituent is substituted on the or placed in the in alternative manner, am I right? The CH is it, CH2, CH is it, CH2, CH is just like this polymer goes. So next you have what are the Z group which can favor the radical process, radical polymerizations. So CH2, CH, this is your Z group, CH2, CH, you have here ester, this is nothing but your vinyl acetate. Similarly, you have a CH2 double bond CH, CH3, CO and CH3. So this is nothing but your methyl methacrylate. Acrylate. So next you have a vinyl nitrile, that is nothing but acrylonitrile. And you have a 1,3-butadiene. So in all the cases, this is your Z, that is substituent. Here your Z, this is your vinyl part, This is your vinyl part. This is your Z. This is your vinyl part. This is your Z. This is your vinyl part. This is your substituent. This is your substituent. Here, this is your vinyl part. This is vinyl part. Cn is your substituent. Again, this is your vinyl part. Here you have the Z. This is your vinyl. This is nothing but 1,3-butadiene. So these are the groups, that is nothing but your substituent that favors the radical polymerization. When you have this Cl, ester and nitrile, you have a double bonds that favors the radical polymerization. So next we will discuss about radical polymerization. So initiator in this polymerization is, we can have either BF3 or AlCl3. So in cationic polymerization, you have the initiator used in this cationic polymerization, any Lewis acid, particularly BF3, the boron trifluoride, and AlCl3. So this is a initiator which used in cationic polymerizations. In this also you have a initiation step. In initiation step, the BF3, again it's a Lewis acid. So it reacts with this alkene, it's a monomer. Because this pi bond is a electrophile, nucleophile, this reacts with your BF3 because it's a electrophile is nothing but your Lewis acid that will have a empty p orbital. It can accept a pair of electron from this pi bond, will act as a nucleophile. It can accept a pair of electron from this alkene part. So the resultant species is, so this will become negative after accepting a pair of electron. So this will become CH2, and this part your radical. So this is the initiation step where the initiator is nothing but your Lewis acid, particularly the BF3, AlCl3 can be used. This is the initiation step where you can generate this cation. Am I right? So this next step is, you have a chain termination propagation step. Chain propagation step. Chain propagation step. So BF3 negative. So CH2, CS3, CS3, you have a positive over here. So if you treat with another molecule, that is CS3, this unit is nothing but your isobutene, right? This is nothing but your isobutene. So again, this is your electron deficient species. It can accept a pair of electron from this double bond. So the resultant species is BF3 negative, CH2, CS3, CS3. You have a CH2 because this CH2, and you have a single bond because one of the pi bond electron being donated to carbon. So the carbocation generated at this end. So you can generate the carbocation over here. So this is your the repeating unit, CH2, CH3. This is your repeating unit. So this process goes like this is your chain propagation steps. Now chain termination steps, you have a chain termination step in this. In this also you have a 3 ways to terminate the chain. The first step is loss of proton. 3 ways to terminate the chain. So first, loss of proton. For example, if you have a BF3 negative CH2 CH3, this is your repeating unit. So you have a CH2 CH3 positive. So in order to make this carbocation double bond, you have to lose either this alpha hydrogen, either this alpha hydrogen. So the resultant product is, so you will end up either this alpha hydrogen, so you will end up with BF3 negative CH2 CH3. So you have a this proton is removed, so you will end up with this double bond. This is one way to terminate the chain. The second process is for terminating this reaction with nucleophile. Because you have a carbocation, so you just treat with nucleophile, so you can easily terminate this process. So reaction with nucleophile. So this is BF3 minus CH2 CH3, and this is your repeating unit. So in this you have a carbocation CH3 and CH3 plus, you just react with nucleophile, so the chain growth will stop. So the resultant product is BF3 minus CH2 CH3. This is N times, so you have a CH2 CH3 is a nucleophile. So this is another way of chain terminating process where you react with nucleophile, it stops the growth of the chain. The another way is you have to react with the solvent. The third way to terminate this reaction is reaction with solvent. So you have this BF3 and CH2 CH3 and CH3, this is your repeating unit, then CH2 CH3, this is plus. So the solvent, let's name it X and Y, it could be any solvent X and Y. So this solvent, so it will react with this one. So what the species, the resulting species you will get BF3 minus CH2 CH3 and CH3, this is N times CH2 CH3 CH3, this is X plus Y minus. So 3 ways to terminate. The first step is loss of proton, we have discussed. The resultant product is alkene. The second way to stop the chain, the growth of the chain, you can simply treat whatever the cation you are generating, you treat with nucleophile, that stops the growth of the chain. The third way is just you treat this whatever the cation is being generated with the solvent molecule, it gives this resultant species. So 3 ways to terminate this process. So again, we will discuss about what are the substituent that makes to undergo the cationic polymerizations. Suppose you have a CS3, CH, CS3, this is again your substituent, and CS3, CH2 double bond, CS3, CS3. Again this is your vinyl part, again vinyl part you have a substituent. Similarly you have a CH2 double bond, CH, CO, CS3, that is your vinyl acetate, and you have a CH2, CH, this is your styrene. So this can undergo, all of the vinyl substrate can undergo cationic polymerization. Cationic polymerization. So cationic polymerization, so these are the substituents can undergo cationic, where the positive charge can be stabilized by this group. The positive charge being generated is stabilized by electron donating group. So here also you have a electron donating group, here plus I group, here plus I group, again is benzene, it can stabilize this cation by resonance. So it can undergo cationic polymerizations. So the last part is anionic polymerization. So anionic polymerization is nothing but you have to generate anion by using a initiator. In this, the initiator is, it could be a nucleophile. For anionic polymerization, the initiator is either sodium amide or butyl lithium, that is butyl lithium. So again in this you have a 3 steps. The first step is again reaction with nucleophile. For example, butyl lithium, this is nothing but CS3, CH2 minus lithium plus. So this is your monomer part. So this negative charge will attack this carbon. So you will generate the carbanion over here. So the resultant species is, so what you will have? This is your butyl. So what resultant species you have? A butyl CH2 CH minus Cn. So by using initiator, the initiator could be either sodium amide or butyl lithium. This is the structure of butyl lithium. If you treat with this monomer, you can generate the carbanion. This is your initiation step. The chain propagation step. This is first step. Second step is the chain propagation step. Propagation steps. In chain propagation step, again this butyl CH2 CHCN minus react with the another monomer, that is CHCN. So again it will generate a negative charge over here. So this is butyl CH2 CHCN CH2 CH minus and Cn, it goes like this. So this is the step where the chain grows in this manner. The last step on this, you have a chain termination process. So we have to stop the growth of the chain by using termination process. So for example, in this CH2 CHCl, that is your vinyl or vinyl chloride, and CH2 CHO CO CS3. This is your methyl methacrylate, and CH2 CHCl. This is nothing but your acrylonitrile. So these substrates, the 1, 2 and 3, where you could see the group which stabilize the carbanion, whatever is generated over here. So with all the 3, it can undergo the anionic polymerizations. So now we are going to see, so far we have discussed about only one ethylene unit. Now we are going to discuss about isoprene unit. For example, this is your isoprene unit. This is your isoprene unit. Isoprene unit is nothing but, so 2-methyl 1,3-butadiene. 2-methyl-1,3-butadiene. So if you have this another unit, this is another isoprene unit. So you will end up so this is your repeating unit. So this is isoprene is a repeating unit. This is nothing but your natural rubber. This is nothing but your natural rubber. This is nothing but cis poly 2-methyl 1,3-butadiene. So in natural rubber, all the configurations, the double bond configuration is cis. All the configuration, the monomer is isoprene unit. If you polymerize this isoprene unit, so the resultant product is nothing but your natural rubber. So it will have cis configuration, cis poly, so 2-methyl 1,3-butadiene. So we are so next we are going to discuss about Gutta-Percha. So Gutta-Percha is another, it's a natural polymer. It's a Malaysian word. In Malaysian word, the Gutta means gum. Percha means tree. It's nothing but gum tree. So in this you have all the, so in this also have your isoprene unit. The only the configuration is differs. So in this you have, instead of cis, you have a trans configurations. So trans configuration. The problem is both natural rubber as well as in synthetic rubber. This is a natural rubber. Another one is the neoprene. That is nothing but your synthetic rubber. So CH2 CHCl, CH2 double bond CH double bond CH2. This is nothing but 2-chloro 2-chloro-1,3-butadiene. If you polymerize by using Ziegler-Natta catalyst, this is nothing but your titanium aluminum complex. Ziegler-Natta catalyst is nothing but titanium aluminum complex, where you will have Cl, this is Cl, this is your monomer. So this is nothing but your neoprene unit, the synthetic rubber. This is synthetic rubber. So this can be synthesized by using 2-chloro-1,3-butadiene by using Ziegler-Natta catalyst. Ziegler-Natta catalyst is nothing but your titanium aluminum complex that results the neoprene, nothing but your synthetic rubber. So this is a isoprene unit, where that is a natural rubber where you have a cis configuration. In Gutta-Percha, this is nothing but gum tree. It's again as a natural polymer where you will have trans configurations. The synthetic rubber is nothing but you have that can be made by using Ziegler-Natta catalyst. The starting material is 2-chloro-1,3-butadiene. The resultant product is neoprene, that is nothing but your synthetic rubber. In both natural as well as in synthetic rubber, the problem is it is very sticky and soft. So in order to make it hard, we have to add sulfur. In order to make hard, we have to add sulfur. That process is called vulcanization. That is nothing but you have to add sulfur to the synthetic rubber or natural rubber, so that the rubber can be hardening. Am I right? So it become hard. So it's an important process to make the soft to hard. Am I right? Soft nature of rubber to hard nature. That is nothing but your vulcanizations.